Man should not rule over man. Let knowledge rule again. The book of light, book of books, and savior of mankind. Aum. Politicians and religion are the fall of man. We don't need no institutions and no government. All we need is that which once united us all. Let the angels' teaching be your guiding star. No Bible and Quran. We have that where they all come from, in our very hearts. We are the new generation of innocence and peace. Knowledge is our leader. The truth shall set you free. It is the book of light, light and love. With a book of light, you're guided from above. When the world is burning left and right, there is a pillar of hope, and it is called the Book of Light. It is the Book of Light, the Book of Light and love. With the Book of Light, you're guided from above. It is the Book of Light.
Welcome to Divine Message from the True God, Nirvana. And by true God, I don't mean a creator God. Such a thing does not exist. You are God. You have created yourself. Three things are there. Teaches the Book of Light. And the Book of Light is something that you saw in the beginning with the Book of Light song. It is the greatest handwritten English book in the world, dictated to me by the great Johann, translated by Elke Straube in many German volumes. And one little summary of the Book of Light is Divine Message from the True God. You can get it on Amazon. And just to begin with, this is no book selling show. Since 30 years, I do not take money from my books. This goes all to a little publishing company, and they are constantly in the, so to speak, in the black numbers, or red numbers as we say in Germany. Excuse my imperfect English. I try my best. Now, this is divine message from the true God. True God to us is nirvana, the highest principle, from which everything evolves and to which everything returns. That is nirvana. So now, it begins with a strange sentence, but I want to read it to you. The Constitution of the United States of America, Article 6, Section 2, guarantees to every American the opportunity to pursue happiness. Everybody wants to be happy, right? And once he reached that happiness, he discovers, oh, is that all? Sex, money, eating, drinking, thinking, feeling, family, children, success in your job. I have a friend who's a billionaire, not a millionaire, billionaire in Marbella, where I spent 4 years with Sean Connery and his wife Micheline in the same house on the beach. And this friend I know from there, he killed himself a couple of years ago. Why? Was he broke? No. Was he sick? No. Did his wife cheat with his gardener? No. He had no kids? 3. One kid had cancer? No. Well, he was depressed? Yes. And he left a letter. And in that letter he said, just one sentence, is that all? Dear friends, I'm not doing that for my ego. I'm a German singer who sold millions of records. And when I sing, I get 10,000 euro per hour. Not so much as I got before, but who cares? No. The great Chauhan dictated that book to me, who was fallen into the senses, into the looking for happiness into the world of the senses. Must I define to you what world of the senses is? No. Now, let's read this. The Americans had over 200 years to pursue happiness. Ooh. Did they find it? I think not. Why did the people of the United States of America not find true happiness? And since I'm now in Europe, dear friends, I could ask the same question for the European people. Are they happy? Look at our country. Look at Merkel. Look at these insane people ruling over insanes. Because they were and are looking for it in the wrong place, outside the world where it is not. See, this goes to the core. You want to be happy. It's okay. But what is true happiness? Can somebody tell me? True happiness is something that is always there. Not that you are happy and then you become unhappy. That's not really happiness. If you have reached something that makes you happy, let's say family, sex, children, or wife, job, good. Let's say I have to go into extremes sometimes, dear friends, to explain to you what I mean. Mother with a stroller, the kids, 2 kids there, twins. La, 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 and her husband too. A car comes, boom, kills the twins and the mother. The father remains. What made him happy until now is sure the cause of unhappiness, not to use another word. Right? I'm just talking about normal, simple situations. And so, what I want to point out to you is me, who had everything in the world, the most beautiful women in the world, everything, huge amount of money. I still have some, but I don't need more. Huge amount. Own jet, own boat. Huh? The most powerful people in the world, my friends. What is the definition of happiness? Something that doesn't end, right? This is when you get married, they tell you, until death shall set you apart, separate you. Well, they say yes, and you may kiss the bride and so forth, but you know, there's that sentence. So the definition is clear, dear friends, and I want to make that aware. See, I am here to, I who has fallen into the senses deeper than anyone you can imagine. Because I was good looking. I'm still good looking, right? Yeah. I was young, I was strong. Who was that? I was young, I was strong. If you want to see how strong I was, go to YouTube, Christian Anders Karate. I do these exercises still today. If any of you can do all of them, I say you are the best in the world. No one can do that. What I did then and do today, nevertheless, go to Christian Anders Karate YouTube. And try to do it. They say I was better than Bruce Lee. So what? The worms will eat this, right? So, where then is true happiness? Dear friends, I do not let you hang in between my definitions without showing and pointing at the solution of the problem. Believe me, I wouldn't do that. You see, U.G. Krishnamurti, U.G. Krishnamurti, the wonderful person. Nobody understood him, I did. Go there and look at him, what he said. Okay. Where is true happiness? It is deep, deep inside of you where your true immortal essence dwells. What is an immortal essence? Listen, I don't let any word pass here unexplained. It is my responsibility I have for and with you. So what is an immortal essence? Something that has a beginning and no end. Now I want to release you from that illusion that you think an immortal essence is something that has a beginning and no end. There is no such thing. What has a beginning must have an end. Even in the highest heavens of religion, dear Christians and Muslims. So then everything has a beginning and an ending. There's no eternity. What do you mean by eternity? Eternity is something that has no beginning and no end. I lead you to that state with that little book. Divine Message from the True God. You can also get it German and English in one book, Die Botschaft des wahren Gottes Nirvana. In one book, German and English. It is deep, deep inside of you where your true immortal essence dwells. That essence is according to the Book of Light that you saw in the beginning of that lecture. Huge book. That is Nirvana. The end of suffering. Right? That's Nirvana. So, nobody wants to die. Why? Dear friends, I ask you a question. If I try to find the right word, is transiency. If transiency would be our true nature, I would say, excuse me, I have to die. But nobody wants to die. Did you ever ask yourself why? Well, young people, I ask, well, I don't care. I'm strong. And when death comes, it comes. Yeah, you haven't been in the hospices, in the death houses in LA and in Germany. How I did, where I did. They crushed my hand. They said, "LANOO, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die." I went near to him, to his stinking breath, where the worms were crawling out of his face and his skull, and he was already. I said, "Let go. You will come back faster than you think." So I introduced him a little bit to the teaching of karma and reincarnation. Okay. So, if you want to become immortal, which you are already, by the way, you will have to detach from the mortal. Or rather, from desire for the mortal. All of you, me too, are still desiring for mortal things, right? Eating, drinking, sex, this and that, are all mortal, transitory things, right? Uh-huh. How about a little bit detaching from it and studying the Book of Light or its branch scriptures and preparing yourself better for the next life or for the no return? You see, I think of U.G. Krishnamurti, one wonderful man. He said to them, there's no reincarnation. Of course there is. There is no purpose in life. Of course there is. But he spoke as a nirvani. He was already connected so to nirvana. And there is no reincarnation. Once you reach nirvana, if it is perfect, sometimes there are some residues that bring you back near to the source, but there is no reincarnation. He said it from the point of view of nirvani. Nobody understood him. They discussed him. Not discussed, discussion. They talked with him. And he said, don't you understand? There is nothing. He's right. Because he was in a state of nirvana. Total peace, close to it. This is the truth. This is, when you look at the videos of U.G. Krishnamurti, this is what he meant. But he didn't say it. He said, why do you ask me, why is this and that and this? There's no purpose. He said, well, in nirvana, there's no purpose. He said, who created God? He just challenged you with the question. Nobody created God because there is no creator. Of course not. And the Book of Light explains that all. That doesn't mean we are atheists. See, this huge book costs you nothing. I will, if you want, I will send you PDF. No cost. 25 kilo, thousands of pages. Thousands of pages. Okay. If you do not let go of the outside world, it says here, and of your attachment to it, you shall never experience true happiness. So what it means is, true happiness comes from detachment. But we live in a world of attachment. Hey, listen, I'm the master of living in the world of attachment. And they teach us this is happiness. And because you are attached to transient things, you will experience unhappiness as soon as this transient thing disappears. And if you look for happiness in the physical body, you will see the body dies. And in the moment of death or before, you say, I don't want to die. I had so much happiness in the physical body. I don't want to die. Give me some Botox. So, is there a surviving principle? That is the question. We're not babbling around here. We say as it is. If I say you are immortal, you mean, yeah, what is immortal? Wrong question. See, why is it outside colder? No, let me ask you another question that makes no sense, by the way. Why is it colder than outside? I want to form a question that makes no sense. Or, what is the what I said and this and what? Question mark. Don't you agree that this foolish, silly words don't deserve an answer? In the same way, it is a foolish question to ask, who am I? It will not lead you to the answer. Ask, who am I not? And then try to detach from it. See, if I say my body is not my jacket, I can prove it. I take it off, I'm still there. Think about that. Now, the purpose of this little book, and of course of the huge book of light, is to awaken the surviving principle in you, or rather that which survives life after life. And you can get the truth when you detach, guided by the teaching and by soul breath meditation. Detach from everything, and still you remain. What is that? How is that? Try it. Follow the teaching. Become immortal. Do you think, excuse me, try to make the camera. Well, do you think I would waste my time here without knowing that the highest goal of all human beings, no, of all beings in the world, minerals, plants, animals, angels, animals, humans, gods, God, even the highest principle of manifestation, is immortality? But what is immortality? You want to be immortal? Oh, there are many songs, forever free. Oh no, I want to be forever young. All these songs pointing towards the desire to not to die. But what is born must die. So therefore, I shock you with another sentence. There is no life. You see, nature or comes from natare, from being born, Latin. But there is no life. There's only death. And the beginning of death is birth. And the end of death is, and the end of the dying process is death. To die. Yeah? So, when you are born, the dying process begins. But when you die, the dying process ends. I mean, a 5-year-old can understand me. This teaching is especially for children. Especially. When you look at the Book of Light, you will see a chapter, a Book of Light for children. Okay. Now that eternal principle cannot be found by saying, who am I? But it can be found by saying, who am I not? And this is the point what leads us this little book to. Who am I not? See, again, a 5-year-old listens to me, he will understand me. Because the truth must be understandable for everybody. 2 scientists, Nobel Award winners, sit there around an apple, in front of an apple. And they want us, using their intelligence, they want to find the answer. How does the kernel, the core of this apple look? And one said, let's solve that problem by intelligence, by IQ. We have IQ 200, we are genius. Okay. And one says, well, the core looks sort of like this, you know, this. I say, no, it's more this. Then a third comes, also a Nobel Award winner, brain surgeon. Sure. He says, no, the core is more flat. These little particles, you know, the seed inside, it's more flat. Little boy comes with a knife, cuts the apple in two. I said, here, there. This is the Book of Light. It cuts you open to the core. And then you can decide if you are still the husk or the core. So now, and you see, I already mentioned it and pointed towards it. There are three realities. Nirvana, all beings and root matter. We come from Nirvana, we go to Nirvana. 311 trillion, 40 billion years of human and cosmic evolution described in the Book of Light that you saw in front of you. And also in that little book. Okay. Everything derives, in Germany we say der Urgrund, but we say also Nirvana. From the ground, from the central ground, leaves it, falls into material world, attains all forms, driven by desire, and returns to the source. The lost son returns to the Father, like in the Bible. There is no creator God. There is no plan. There is a matrix, and there is root matter and all beings. Why then do they leave the source if there is so much suffering in this world? And dear friends, we identify suffering with transiency. So if something is transient and you attach to it, that's the cause of suffering. Why? Because it's taken away from you. Oh no, I live forever. Yes, sure. In heaven is a party. Or like we say in Germany, im Himmel ist Jahrmarkt. So, the surviving principle. And you see, it has to do with detachment. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot become that which you are already, the truly timeless, eternal, immortal. Because eternity, as defined in the Book of Light, has no duration. No duration. It's eternal. There's no eternity that has a beginning and no end. No way, Jose. All religions in the world shall be united at the second coming of Christ. Krishnamurti said that. Not UG Krishnamurti, the other, Jiddu. which is not a message, he said, but a scripture. And that scripture you were looking at in the beginning. Man should not rule over man. You see, this insane world ruled by insane people. Jiddu said also, the Christ can't manifest. It is the teaching which manifests. Glory to the Book of Light. Look at this. You see, the Book of Light also teaches Sanskrit. Learn it. One would say, well, I can detach from everything without that stuff. No, you can't. You cannot detach from the world, not even a little bit, if you don't understand the world. If you don't understand the connection, the cause of your attachment to the world, which binds you, which causes your reincarnation. Listen, you don't want to die? That causes your reincarnation. It suffices. That's the point. Okay. Now religion has almost doubles my mind. What is it? Monstrous contradictions. A personal God, or the Christian doctrine. This, I have to mention that in the beginning. It's insane doctrine. Why insane? See, the Book of Light unites all religions. I forgot to tell you that one. Excuse my imperfect way of telling you these things. Dema Chohan, when I asked him during, I was homeless in Los Angeles and so forth, and rode a bit, and then I was saved and so. And I asked him, but if that is so, why is that so? He said, what was the word? Tölpel. It's a German word. He named me Tölpel. He said, you nut. Shut up, he said, sit down and write. Okay, but listen, this is important. The Christian doctrine of a personal survival after death, in an eternal heaven or eternal hell, presupposes the belief in a personal God and leads to monstrous contradictions. Listen, I mean, I wrote in a whole set. I cannot read all that. I know the book by heart. I was dictated to me. An all-knowing God, perfect God, creates intentionally an imperfect world. Now some Christians say, he gave you free will. That's even worse. According to his omniscience, such a God must have known how we would use our free will to go against him. And to create this insane, and to cause this insane world ruled by insane people. Man should not rule over man. It's the teaching of the Book of Light. The teaching should rule. So what now? What do you say now? Then they tell you, Satan told you that. Yeah, sure. You actually, you insult God with such an insane teaching that a perfect God intentionally creates this imperfect world and then blames the world for being imperfect. And according to his omniscience, he must have known how his creatures what his creatures would do. So he's also the creator of the devil. And then he's even worse than the devil he created. Hey, you have to take this a little bit by humor, you know? How can a most gracious God bestow such a horrible gift when he knows beforehand, in virtue of his omniscience, how dreadfully man will misuse it? So you insult God when you are a Christian or a Muslim. I'm sorry. I hope God is not too much upset about your definition of him. I hope he's not too much upset. Tell you that. See, I quote Pope Leo X. You know what he said? What prophet has not that fable of Christ brought us? These people up there, most of them pedophile, knew immediately. See, the Bible was not permitted to be read by people before they invented the art of imprinting. They knew the fraud, the fraudulent thing. Alteration of the Bible, taking the symbol for real, and so forth. This is why the Book of Light is there, uniting all religions. Not saying they are bad, but behind the alteration, you have the common core, like the little child comes and cuts the apple in half, and there you have the seed, the core. Okay. See, we have to begin with the term God, because of course there's no creator God, extra cosmic creator God. You are God. And because you are imperfect, your life is imperfect, and your body is imperfect, and everything's imperfect. A mineral is God in the making. A plant is God in the making. We call it the monad. The true being. Leaving the safe home, nirvana. Well, why did they leave it? Because they had to learn where they really belong, namely there where they left. Ignorance of the nature of suffering caused them to dare the deep fall into metta. Here we are. See, the term God is an intentional mistranslation to establish a one and only God, where there is none. But we will explain what God is if you really mean that. But let's first go a bit deeper into it. The name in the Hebrew Bible given is Elohim. Elohim, that's a Hebrew word. It's a plural, not singular, plural. That's why God speaks of we. Majestic, plural, meaning gods. El is God. Eloho is goddess, and Im is masculine, plural. It reveals the male and female or androgynous nature of the first, or rather spiritual principle. And now see, what is the first? The first will be the last. At the reawakening of the universe, that's no Big Bang. What religion claims of its God, that nobody created him, we claim of everything. Nobody created anything. Everything was always there, interacts periodically, resting, coming forth again, interacting, creating all the forms, causing the forms, and returning to the source. See, when you have a magnetic pin of steel, magnetized, you put it into iron powder on a plate. What happens? All the iron powder goes to the source. Now turn it. You have the cause of rotation. You have the reawakening of the universe in that simple example. And the teachers in school should teach their children, when they teach magnetism, to write that, so that children see it's not just that physical thing. It's a metaphysical event. Metaphysical. Good. Now, Beresh Yitpare Elohim. Which was later changed by manipulating the Masoretic points. Yeah. That means, Bereshit Pare Elohim, through multitude, the gods formed themselves into the heavens and the earth. Now you see, that leads us to the Book of Light. beginning about 150 billion years ago, at the reawakening of the universe. The supermonad, or the first being leaving the source in hierarchical order, touches matter, as I said to you now with a magnetic pin and then turning, touches matter, surrounds itself with matter, parts it into 7, and 7 times 7 and 7 times 7 levels. Why? To prepare for those who come after it. Jesus said, in my Father's house there are many mansions. I have prepared for you. I have prepared for you. Therefore, Book of Light is also, of course, the true meaning of the Bible and of the Quran. So, okay. So that was the first being. And through friction in matter, there was a first cold light. If you call that a Big Bang, you may do that. Oh, God. Hawking was dying with big, you know, that gentleman, scientist. Sorrowful, he was dying. He said, there must be a beginning. And because he couldn't live with the thought there is what was before the beginning, he asked himself. So he postulated a little pre-beginning. How silly is that? A 5-year-old can come and say, Mr. Hawking, please do me a favor. What was before the pre-beginning? And the answer to that is there is only a reawakening. When you go to bed at night, you stand up next morning, well, same, right? So to speak. There is no Big Bang, no first Big Bang. You fall from timelessness into time. Finish. That's how it is. Good. So this is the correct translation. The first emanation touching matter, dividing it, and then the others come, 7 rays and whatever we teach in the Book of Light. And this is why it says in Exodus 28, Deuteronomium 4:19, thou shalt not revile the gods. It was God who has divided them unto all nations. And in order to make their God the one and only God, they changed or translated Elohim into a male singular God with a penis. But the truth is that the first, but also the others, and down to the lowest worm, emanate from the source. And when they return, and we are on the way to return to the source, everything that is here returns to the source, and last the one that came first. And this is why the first will be the last. It has no social component or, you know, no, you're poor and you will be rich here. The truth is that all gods and sub-gods, Jehovah, Allah, and religions emanate periodically from one source, the one and only God. And you see, I have an illustration here that makes it clear. Look. See that? It's a little book just. Get it. God, then it continues, nations, religions, and their gods. If you want to make Brahma, your God, which is our solar system, our solar God, okay. The ancient did not pray to the sun. It's a lie. They worship the being in the sun, the monad. Now there are people, dear friends, that wait for eternal peace in heaven. I must disappoint you. There is, it's not cold, I don't know. Please don't see me as a guru. I hope you don't do that. God, I resent it. My name is LANOO. I'm one who has fallen so deep, others would have been on the electric death chair. You know what I did in my life? But I survived to be able to teach you that. Glory to the great Johann, and glory to the Book of Light. You see, in Jesaja 34:4 and Revelation 6:14, we read, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and the heavens departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. Heaven is not eternal. Don't you want something that cannot be taken away from you again? Heaven can be taken away from you. It will, it will. Now, don't let me be misunderstood. The pleasure that you have in heaven, compared, let me say, all the orgasms, sexual orgasms in the world put together, are nothing compared to 1 second pleasure in heaven. I don't doubt that. Okay, let's go to heaven, let's go to heaven. Okay. The Book of Light leads to nirvana, but on the way to that you pass heaven. If you want to remain there, no problem. I just have the duty to tell you that there is something else. The highest principle. And I always said, a God who wants to be worshipped belongs on the psychiatric couch. Okay. Now, when we go to the Holy Quran, La ilaha illa Allahu Akbar, then we read about heaven. 104 Surah, chapter 104, Surah 21, Anbiya. Dear Muslims, the day that we roll up the heavens like a scroll rolled up for books completed, even as we produced the first creation, so shall we produce a new one, a promise that we have undertaken. Truly shall we fulfill it. You want to read it in Arabic, please? There you get it. I don't say don't go to heaven. Of course you can go to heaven. But you see, for me, even in the world of materialistic, I always said, I want to have the greatest, the best. And that best is nirvana. The end of suffering. Because when you are in highest bliss in heaven, even the highest angels will scroll together when the time comes when they are drawn into the source. And where's all the bliss then? You may say, okay, in next life they are born into that bliss again, but Book of Light teaches you may as well. It may be able that you fall from the highest heavens to the lowest hells. Oh, where was the first war? On earth? It was in heaven, right? Uh-huh. Glory to the Book of Life. That saved me from falling too deep into the senses, and it supplied me with people who came into my life that I could live that life that I live now. It's good. You see, the circumstances do not make you. They don't cause you. You cause the circumstances. Life after life. Don't say, oh, LANOO, now I have a family and kids, and say, I can't reach nirvana. No, but you can make the first steps. I don't say that you should leave your family. For God's sake, no. Say, do what? Start with this little book. That'll explain the summary of thousands of pages in the Book of Light. So, now nirvana is the first time that ground, the source, I call it the source. You see, there are three things. The source, all beings, and root matter, caught in the matrix. There's nothing else. What religion teaches, repetition is the best teacher, what religion teaches from its God to saying, gee, when you ask a Christian or a Muslim, who created your God? They say no one. He was always there. Right! But no, it's not the God you think. Everything is always there and falls periodically out of timelessness into time. Into time. Why? Because of ignorance. U.G. Krishnamurti, I love this guy. You must listen to him. He did not answer correctly, or not correctly, he did intentionally to the question. Why are we here? Why did we leave? Of course, ignorance. Maybe he was too polite. He didn't want to accuse the questioner of ignorance. Yeah. Okay. So you are God. Have you ever heard such a message? And you are responsible. No one else. The child is not the product of its parents. Rule number one. I will close with this part here with a little experience that I had. When I had a temple in Los Angeles, parents came to me with a handicapped child, mentally handicapped, but he could talk. He understood what you said, but he was just slurring. And the parents were crying, and he was crying too. I said, why do you cry? And the mother said, he was born this way, handicapped. And he says to us, he always says to us, because you gave birth and now I comes with handicap. And we said, yes, it's our fault. Wait. I looked at the boy, he was about 13, 14. I took him by the throat. I said, come here. I said, come here. The father said, what are you doing? He said, you keep in your seat. Come here. You should kiss the feet of your parents each day, because they help you to live out your karma. You are not the product of your parents. You are the result of your actions of past lives. And by reincarnation, you were born through a like attracts alike, in a way, through your parents, and are now aware of your failures. And this is how your higher self learns, of which you are yet not aware, because you are caught so much in accusing your parents, blaming them for your existence. And I let him go. I said to the father, do you understand? To the mother, did you understand? No. I said, you come to my lectures. You learn about karma and reincarnation. And your son will understand that you are a blessing for him. And he will be ashamed of having accused you of his handicap. And so it was. They came and learned of karma and reincarnation. How the monad, the being, develops through the nature kingdom from mineral, plant, animal, man, and so forth. Driven by action and the results of action. And they learned when a being dies, it withdraws from the physical body, leaving skandhas, permanent atoms of its desire, and then trishna, or tanha, of thirst. These permanent atoms group around a new female womb. For now we have sexual reproduction, which is another topic. See? And they group around it, and the being is drawn into it again because it goes to that which it left at death. Unfinished business, born through a new womb. So now who is the guilty one, and who is the cause, who's the effect? and the boy understood. And that was the greatest. Then I was close to tears. They came to darshan, the three of them, and the boy was there, and he said to me, "Forgive me." And he said to his parents, "Forgive me." And they hugged. Ooh. That was emotional. That was emotional. Okay. Thank you for your attention, and until next time. Okay?